Welcome to the Health and Wellness Program. You're listening to Maree Gifkins. Well, let's just talk about the winter blues, shall we? The weather is a bit like that, and it's this time of the year, but there's snow on the mountains, which is a good thing to see because something is normal, because nothing much else is normal around the world. And although we're very lucky in New Zealand, I'm very grateful to live here and the way we've handled things, and much better off than a lot of other countries, so I'm very grateful for that. But winter blues, it's sort of setting in and people are feeling a little bit low without the sunshine and wondering what's happening to the world, and we can get a little bit low at times, and that's nothing wrong. It is what it is, but how do we handle it to make sure that it doesn't jump into something more worse? So that's what we really want to prevent, is to stop that train taking off downhill without a destination and without brakes. So we've got to know when to actually go, hang on, no, I am too low, I'm not happy, I'm grumpy about everything, can't see any good happening. What do I do? What can I take, or what can I do to change that pattern that's going on? So it is very easy to just all of a sudden go, nobody seems to want to talk to me. Okay, so let's change it. What can we do? There's lots of things you can do. All right, if you haven't got a lot of money, there's still things you can do. All right, you can change your attitude. And of course, our mind, it's very interesting when we look at our mind, we all of a sudden can catch ourselves thinking. All of a sudden 5 minutes is gone and you've had that same conversation going over and over in your head. And all of a sudden you go, geez, I've just wasted 5 minutes of my time thinking about this argument I had with the neighbour. And you go, I've got to stop this. All right, so there's two parts to the brain. Now, this is not science and it's not technical, but it's I liken it to two parts to our brain. The conscious part of I'm aware of something, and the other part, it just takes off and does its own little thing. But you have to all of a sudden realise that our mind's taken off and gone down this pathway. And so then we got to stop. There's no point in going over and over this thing. Nothing's going to change. It is what it is. The argument is what it is. It made us feel bad. Looks like the other person got away with it. Whatever the arguments are, or whatever the negativity that's going on. If you can't change it, it's happened, but we have to stop thinking about it and we have to let it go. Sometimes we have to forgive. Depending on the situation. And so we have to catch ourselves thinking and go, no, enough is enough, it's time to move on. And don't need to be miserable anymore, this isn't going to change anything, I need to change. So you stop thinking, you breathe, you relax, you just say something like, it's come into my awareness and it's going, just like the clouds. They come and they go. Clouds don't stay. Okay, they are always moving. So allow your thoughts to move and go, and then put your mind somewhere else. Go to something that you're grateful for. Could be the clothes that you have. Could be the roof you have over your head. It could be the nice bed that you just bought. Be grateful. There's lots of things you can be grateful for. Living in New Zealand, we know spring is coming. It will come because everything changes. Nothing stays the same. You've got to remember that one. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Okay, so you catch yourself thinking and you put your mind somewhere else. And then if it comes back again, you catch yourself thinking, change it. Go to something you're grateful for. The more you do that, the patterns will change. Your mind will start to cotton on to this, oh yeah, I don't need to keep thinking about the negative. Especially if it's not going to change anything. Why carry on down that pathway? I know it can be an effort, but the more effort you put into it, the better off you're going to be. And then you're going to be a nice person to be around. And that's the reward, is you're going to be a nice person for people to want to be near. All right, sometimes we have to forgive because it's not for the other person that you're forgiving that's going to have the big aha moment. It's actually you, because, in forgiveness, if you look in the Greek language, it means, when it's translated, it means to hurl away. Okay, so it doesn't mean that the other person is going to get away with it or whatever. It just means you're hurling something away. So you're no longer carrying it around on your shoulders. Okay, so forgiveness is a good thing, and hurl it away. It no longer serves you. Nothing's going to happen, but you will feel relaxed. You will feel calmer and more at peace. And sometimes you have to, say a little prayer or say some words or do a little ceremony. I don't know, grab some photos of something and burn them. Have a little ceremony of I forgive, I let go. It's done. It's time to move on with my life. Time to move on to the next adventure. There's always doors around. It's time to go through a door into the next area. Okay, you can have baths. Baths are very good and very soothing, especially if you put some lavender in or some nice Himalayan salt is very good. That's the pink salt. So it has minerals in there as well, so that it not only makes you feel relaxed and calmer, but the minerals will go in and feed all your ligaments and tendons. So you've actually got an extra bonus there. So you're actually getting something from the minerals that are in that Himalayan salt. You can get also Epsom salts. Epsom salts are full of magnesium. Magnesium. Magnesium's the magic pill. Don't ever forget magnesium. Did you get it? Okay, Epsom salts is full of magnesium, magnesium sulfate. Sulfur is so important for us as well. All right, we've forgotten about that beautiful mineral sulfur. But it's time to go to Rotorua and have a soak in the hot pools, get into those sulfur pools. Tops our bodies up, boosts our immune system, we feel good, our muscles feel good, and away we can go again. All right, so Epsom salts, back to the Epsom salts in the bath. Put it in a good 500 grams and, half an hour, and do it once a day for a few days. I tell you that magnesium will just give you a lift. You don't have to go and buy a supplement. You can just buy the Epsom salts. They're not very dear, a couple of dollars. And do that 3 nights in a row, 3 days in a row. Put some candles on in the room and some music or your favourite book or magazine, and away you go. It'll give you a lift. All right, magnesium is what we call the happy pill. I'm not talking about depression. I'm just talking about it gives you that lift. It puts that spark back in your eyes. Oh, life's not so bad. Magnesium also feeds the muscles, so it puts that lift into the muscles, so you can lift things. All right, so it's very good for the muscles. If you've been in the garden, digging that over. The other day I got into my garden and went through the compost bin, and it was time to put it all on the veggie gardens. So it's now all on my veggie gardens ready for spring, ready to get into those vegetables. So I'm very happy I got that job done. And then, you have a bath, or you can have a nice warm shower and put some marjoram oil on your achy back or achy muscles. Marjoram oil is very good for the muscles. It relaxes them. And if you're feeling a little bit low, your energy is low, you're not thinking that greatly, a supplement like the B complex is very good to give you that lift and give you that little bit extra energy and vitality and, let's get on with a new project. So B complex is very good. It has all the Bs in there, the B1, B2, B6s, B5s, B12s. So B12 is very good for giving you that energy boost as well. But if you're going to take a B12, you do have to take a B complex. So there are some rules, you know, if you take a B6, you have to take a B complex, because if you just take, say, the B6 or just a B12, you actually become deficient in some of the other Bs. It sounds good. Bzz. And so you do have to take the B complex to keep that balance there. But there's always a rule to that one, isn't there? And the exception to that rule is the B5. The B5 can be taken all by itself. That is another wonderful. B5 is also called the pantothenic acid, and that one's for the adrenal glands. So, you know, if you've had a hard time, lots of stresses, lots of worries, not just coronavirus, not just politics, not just the winter, you've got other stuff going on, you know, your adrenals can take quite a hit. So B5 is very good for boosting up the adrenal glands. You know, some of the side effects from that deficiency is burning feet. If your feet are burning at night time and you've got to stick them out at night time to try and help cool them down, you might have a B5 deficiency. So that's a nice easy way of boosting up your adrenal glands, getting rid of the burning feet. It also helps with the breaking down of the carbohydrates, fats and proteins as well in your diet. And you find after taking it, after a few weeks, or maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you just take the recommended dosage. But again, you know, if you're on medication, you've got to watch out and check with the chemist or the doctor. You know, just I'll put that in there, you know, keep myself safe. So the B5, you'll also find after about 3-4 weeks, you'll notice that you're coping with stress better. You're not going into a screaming panic mode and you end up not actually achieving anything. So the B5 will feed the adrenal glands, so when you do come under stress, you can actually cope with it better. You can think better. You can logically work out a strategy for what you're going through. Okay, so the B5 is a very good supplement. I've always loved that one. It's so nice and easy. And we briefly talked about the B12. That one's very good for energy if your energy is quite low, especially if you're having digestive issues, because your B5 is kind of made in your intestines, between where the small intestines and the large intestines are, and if you've been having difficulties, your B12 can get a little bit low, and so you need a little supplement. And that's interesting, you know, when they give you a B12 injection, you know, it's kind of how much good is that doing, because you do feel better after it, but is it because they've injected you and put a needle into you and your adrenal glands go, whom, who's hurting me? And so you do get a high for a little while every time, you know, they put an injection in you, because that adrenaline is just pumping. Anyway, that's another subject. So what else can we take? We've talked about the magnesium. You know, if you're sleeping, you're tossing and turning at night time. If you're tossing and turning, you're usually calcium deficient. If you're dreaming a lot, then you're magnesium deficiency. So there's the difference between the two. If you're tossing and turning a lot, you could have a bit of a deficiency in calcium. And calcium also coats the nerve fibres, so if you're having a lot of pain, then you quite often will use up a lot of calcium, and then your nerve fibres don't have that insulation, and so the pain can start to feel more annoying and more painful, because you haven't got that insulation, that wrapping around the nerves that we get with the calcium. So yeah, watch out for that one. So I do lots of different therapies, and I have 2 clinics. I have a clinic in Hastings in King Street, 201, right at the back of Countdown, in the Last Palms building. And I'm here in Hastings Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, 9 till about 6 o'clock. And Waipakarau, I'm in Waipakarau Mondays and Fridays. And that's actually at my house, and I'm living in Waipakarau. And so if you would like to contact me, my phone number is 0272 49 50 90. And so I've been thinking just the last few weeks, I'm going to get in a guest speaker and a lady who's dental hygiene, and she's now got the equipment for ozone to work in her practice with the dentistry. And it's the first one in Hawke's Bay, so it all sounds quite interesting and a little bit different. And I don't know all the ins and outs and how you use ozone with dentistry and dental hygiene, but I thought it would be quite interesting to hear and listen about something that's quite new in the world and something that's happening here in Hawke's Bay now. And I know about ozone because I use ozone in my clinic, and I have a steam sauna, which again is new in New Zealand. There's probably only about 12 machines in New Zealand at the moment. And you have a steam sauna, and it's a capsule. You hop in it, the lid comes down, so you're sitting, and your head is exposed out, so your head's not getting overheated with all the steam. And the steam is happening for about 30 minutes, and that's continually happening. So you're heating up, bone warm. All your bones get warm. How lovely. You start to sweat, a little bit of perspiration happening. Temperature can be altered to what you require. So the average is about 37. It can go up or it can go down depending on yourself. And there's some light therapy in there as well. And so you're in there for 30 minutes and your pores start to open, you start to detox a little bit, your muscles start to warm and they start to unwind themselves. And so we know that saunas are really good for us. They've been around for thousands of years in multiple countries. And so we know that there's really good benefits with the saunas. And so then they've also jacked it up so that you can have ozone pumped in. So for 20 minutes, ozone's pumped into the sauna as well. And ozone, you may have heard about ozone, or you mightn't know much about it. Ozone is oxygen. I kind of liken it to oxygen on steroids. Sounds great. Give it to me. So oxygen is 2 oxygen molecules, and ozone is 3 oxygen molecules, and that's what gives it that extra oomph. We have the ozone, we know about the ozone layers up in the atmosphere, and when we have a storm, an electrical storm, there's a certain storm smell that we can smell, and that's usually the ozone that's sort of come down closer to the earth. And so it's a similar smell when the ozone machine is running. So I have an oxygen generator that produces the oxygen, goes into the ozone machine, and the ozone machine electrocutes the oxygen 2 molecules, splits it, and then it puts 3 together, and then it comes down through the tube and into the sauna, into the capsule. And how does that help us? Oh, it's just miracles. It's just wonderful. I'm so happy I have these machines. I've got one in Waipakarau and one in Hastings. And the miracles are just amazing. People are just very happy with it. And so the ozone will go in, because the pores are open, the ozone can go in through the pores into the bloodstream and then moves around the body. And so it's about 99% kills pathogens, viruses, bugs. And how it... Actually, if we talk about COVID-19 and the research that I've been studying and reading about around the world, because I haven't had any COVID-19 patients, so I can't tell you from my experience. I can only tell you from what other people are talking about. And they say that when the ozone goes into the body, it helps the body produce natural hydrogen peroxide. And the hydrogen peroxide kills the bugs. And it has something to do with the sulfur as well. And what it does is that, the little spikes that come up on the virus that we see on the telly, it actually disintegrates, might be the right word, deactivates, they drop off, those little spikes drop off. And it's those little spikes that go around into your body that will burrow in and join into your cell, and then it burrows in and injects all its DNA, and then it reproduces itself. So it's those spikes that if they don't attach to your cell, they just float around. So if they haven't got the spikes on, oh yay, oh good for us. So then what happens is our own immune system goes, what's this thing floating around? And so then it starts to gobble it up with all those beautiful T cells and things. So the immune system can mop up. So the ozone will deactivate all those spikes, all right? So that's what we want, and that's how nature works. And so the ozone will do quite a few different things. It'll go in and untangle the muscles. It's very good for sports recovery. If you've got an injury and it's been hanging around for a little bit longer, you may need a good boost of the ozone. And of course the heating of the steam sauna is just double mixture. It's just wonderful how it works, the combination of the two together. And the ozone is very good for the immune system. It boosts the immune system. It's putting, when it goes around the body, and if it and as I said, there's 3 molecules. If it finds a pathogen, one of the molecules will come off and start breaking down that pathogen. But you've still got the 2 oxygen moving around your body. And so that gives you the extra boost. It gives you the extra energy. It can go up into the head space and give you a little bit more thinking capabilities. So it's got all these extra bonuses. The ozone is moving around your body for about 3 days after you've been in the machine. So it's not just a half an hour thing. It's just carrying on for a few more days. And and I find that every time you hop in to the machine, it will always bring your nervous system down about 3 peaks. So you start to feel a lot more relaxed and calmer straight away. But you still have a spring in your step. It's not like you need to go home and have a sleep. You still have a spring in your step, nervous systems come down, and then it starts doing all its other little magical bits and pieces. So that's a little bit about the ozone. So I'm not too sure how that works with the dentistry. We'll get Maddie in the next, maybe the next broadcast when I come in to record it, and see if I can drag her in and she can tell us all the bits and pieces about it. So keep an eye out for that one, won't you? And, we're also in a time where it's sort of like flu season, but we're doing all right because we haven't had all the people coming from overseas with all the flus. So the flus aren't too bad, but don't forget to make sure you put in onions into your diet and garlic into your diet, because they've always been good for the immune system, boosting up the immune system, fighting infections. And the other ones to add, because the onions and garlic are very high in sulfur, and that's one aspect that's brilliant about them. The other things that have high in sulfur are your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, and your cabbages. They're high in the sulfur content as well. You can't underestimate the sulfur, a miracle that will happen in the body. From the research that I've done with the sulfur, it helps the blood repel from the walls and move around the body a lot easier. So don't forget that one either. And let's see, what else can we talk about? I'm back on track. My business is here. I'm here. If you need top-ups like reflexology is very relaxing for the nervous system, to bring your body back into balance. Sometimes things can be overstimulated and you need it to come back down. Sometimes things are understimulated and you need to bring it back up. It needs to be stimulated to bring it back to that balance. Reflexology is perfect for that. It's bringing that homeostasis back into your body. Sometimes we can even get blockages. I had a lady in her early 80s and her bladder was not working very well. Her bowels weren't working very well. And I said to her, okay, let's do some reflexology and, within 3 days you should be a lot better. If not, you better go and see the doctor. So we did the reflexology. I think I did it twice within those 3 days, and her bowels started to move very quickly. Within 2 hours she was on the toilet, being able to have a bowel motion. And then of course her bladder started to work very well as well. I would say her bowels started to swell and be kind of like a bit of inflammation, and then that pressure was putting that on the bladder and sort of stopping the bladder. So it's very good. Reflexology is very good for bringing things back down and relaxing the system and allowing everything to catch up again. All right, so that was a little bit about reflexology as well. So if you'd like to get hold of me, my phone number is 0272 49 5090. Thank you for listening.